we get to talk about things that people are doing that are actually good, not like the dumpster fire that we normally have to review. Let me get some water. I'm so thirsty. I see everybody in the chat. Hello. Hello, hello. I hope everything is coming through. I want to start getting, hey, what's up? I want to start getting a, like, intro video, but look, we're doing one thing at a time. Oh, the music's still playing. Oh, sorry. Wait, I can't hear anything. Sorry. Okay, there we go. You guys are so forgiving. Where's my audio coming through? I don't think my audio is coming through at all. Maybe my headphones. Okay, so let us get into it. Okay, reset. Oh, here we go. Now it's working. Hi. All right, let's go. Hey everyone. Oh, we've got Nick in the house. Shout out to Common Sense Culture. Okay, good. The audio is working. I forgot to turn the background music off. So here we go. So we've got some interesting stories to cover. We're going to actually talk about something that they're doing right. Oh my God. Something that I saw that was actually not terrible. I'm shocked. They're doing something right, finally. Thanks for the suggestion, everybody. Now I'm still reeling because I'm still reeling from today's Twitter escapades. I realized that you're not supposed to follow too many people on Twitter, which is super weird. But there was this video. I don't know if you guys follow Anomaly, but he interviewed Vivek and the candidate, and Vivek called him a far right commentator. I don't know. It's just weird. People are weird out here. I didn't know. If Anomaly is far right, then I'm definitely far right, which is really funny. Because he calls MAGA people conspiracy, cultists. Oh yeah, John, you don't have a Twitter? I stay off of that because that is ooh, it's damaging. It's damaging. Okay, so we've got some really interesting stories to talk about today. I just want to get started with, honestly, I just want to get started with this because I feel like this is the top story and I just love it that someone actually made this. Now check this out. So I found this on Twitter. I don't know who originally made it, but it's basically let kids decide when they drink and drive. And they have just a bunch of these memes and posters no discrimination. And obviously if we look at the coloring, this is a good example of how do you pick up subtle meaning in images and how a subtle meaning is conveyed. Because if we look at the coloring, what does the coloring remind you of? What does it remind you of? I think we all know. So there's just so many of these where I'm just this is genius. This is literally genius. This one's really good too. With the let kids choose when they're ready for a tattoo, and you've got this little baby. No discrimination. Okay, stop discriminating. Because apparently, and I just learned, yes, the flag is in the house. The holiest flag of all. I was watching Carlin and her latest escapades. I don't know. I've made a video on her where she went into a socialist conference, and one of the socialists was talking about, or no, she was just, giving this context of socialists believe that children are just small people and they have full autonomy and they should have full rights, and you should abolish the family and privatize care, or no, abolish private care, so the state basically gets to decide everything about you and what you want. If you're in a dependent state, the state gets to decide. So seeing this, it like really resonates. I mean, this should make sense to them. Like, what's wrong with this? This makes total sense. Like, a little 3-year-old should be able to decide when they want to get a tattoo. What's the problem? Oh, philosophers, did they make a protect? Yeah, no. I don't want to get my stream shut down again, so we're not going to talk about that, but that's like a locals sort of like members only sort of discussion. I don't know how she gets away with it. Honestly, I really don't. But she's a socialist. I mean, she's representing socialists, so I guess it's okay. I don't really know. I don't know how that works. But yeah, this is definitely color psychology. It's definitely, resonating and giving you that cue. You might not pick up on it immediately, but your brain does. Your brain definitely does. All right. What's the other one? There was another one that they had. Oh, this one. This one is like really silly. Just how. Let kids smoke, no discrimination. We aren't joking. Some kids just like chain smoking. They do. There was one too where would you rather have an unalived child or a smoking child? Like, just let them smoke. What's the problem? It's crazy to me. I think this is actually really, really good. I mean, this is the sort of satire that type of content that could hopefully open them up to exploring how ridiculous their little catchphrases sound, especially when you compare it to this in this context. But who knows? Probably not. Oops, send them to war at 3. Yeah, we have to. Yeah, we have to let them decide. Let them decide. So yeah, that was crazy to me. I really think this works. And it works because it's queuing you up so you get that meaning, you get the correlation because of the colors. It's obviously the same sort of stance, like let kids do what they need to do. They know, I mean, after all, their logic is that kids understand themselves and what's the right thing for them. And arguably, like letting them smoke is not as bad as letting them go through like actual non-reversible surgeries or medical treatments. A kid smoking a couple cigarettes is not going to do the same permanent damage as other lovely and brave and stunning. I'm going to try to keep this as PC as possible for the YouTubes. Okay. So yeah, this was, I was really impressed. They are the future. Why do you care so much? Exactly. What do you care? Like, let them live their truth. Let them live their truth and just let them live their truth. What's the problem? They need to live their truth. So yeah, this is like really perfect. We need to keep going on this. This is something that they should keep doing. And this is a good example of actually doing counter propaganda, like creating a counter narrative, like, countering their little narrative, like not just doing what, people the conservative side usually do, is just mock and ridicule. Yeah, that works so much until people get their feelings hurt, and especially when you're dealing with mentally ill people. I don't think that's gonna go as far as you would like it to go. Really, really bad. Really bad. And obviously, this is the power of AI. I just love that we have AI to be able to create things like this and not wait around and not just like sit on our laurels. Oh, here's where I found it. Was the right side of history. Some kids know they want to chain smoke as young as 2 and 3 years old. Early signs include pretending to puff on a crayon, holding pencil between their middle and index finger, strong cravings from candy, cigarettes, and rapidly making huffing sounds or deeply exhaling. Now, this sounds ridiculous, but we all know this whole gender ideology sounds equally, if not more, ridiculous. So I can't really, that's a shadow. I'm like, what is on my face? It's like literally the sunlight. So it all makes sense. It all comes together. Kids don't even know what they want, blah, blah, blah. Kids don't even know what they want for dinner. If it were up to them, they'd eat cookies and ice cream all the time. Well, you know, you have to empower them. You have to liberate them. They need liberation. They need it. Oh, here's the last one that I think. This one. Would you rather have a smoking child or an unalive child? This is like perfect. We need this like everywhere. Everywhere. I'm just like, I don't want my child unalive. Let them smoke. You can even argue, you could even go into it, be like, oh, they're exposed to it in the womb. And, you know, they just need that nicotine. So let them have it. So crazy. I can't believe that we have reached this. Sometimes I sit back and I'm just like, is this really where we're at? How is this like, I feel like, am I the only one who's noticing that this is how insane we are? I know that there are other people noticing it, but I don't think they understand like the why it's happening, which is funny. They're sort of just reacting, which is, you know, the common thing. But it's like, is this really where we're at? And we can't like really, we're too afraid to say something because of the repercussions. Yeah, I don't know. We can't. Wait, abolish child labor laws. Wait, I'm actually kind of serious about that one. A kid better off working in a factory than a public school. That's funny. I mean, they would be better off farming somewhere, perhaps, probably, than just sitting in public school being indoctrinated. You know, in like a very serious circumstance, because now they're just doing the weirdest stuff, and I feel really bad for them because they're not really learning anything practical. At least if you were out farming, you would learn something practical, and the like being in nature part would probably make you less of a psychopath. So that's really extreme to say, but honestly, I just can't see where it would go wrong. Oh my gosh. This is like so much. Where is this? Okay. So I don't know if you guys know this, but I'm actually working on this video in addition to the other videos I'm working on. I'm working on a video on how to not be called racist. And I'm really excited about it because I think it's going to be a unique like perspective, like a unique way to approach criticism and approach dealing with our new society and all of the new areas of awareness we have to face. Before it was sort of like cut and dry, everything was understood. There was a normal and then there was everything else. But now it seems like everything else is quickly becoming more popular and just constantly popping up. So I personally think that it's not a good thing to be racist, obviously, but just cutting off a conversation saying, oh, that's racist, you can't say that. I'm like, that's not legitimate. I don't think it is. Because when I saw this article, and this is a real article, by the way. This is a real article. How we stop this kid becoming a monster. Yeah, this little boy. Obviously, this little boy looks like, he's just a monster in the making. That is racist. I know. I'm sorry, John. That is super racist. But look at this. Look at this. Like, how terrible. This is in Australia. Why are they demonizing him? Why? Now, this is so over the top. I just thought this was satire, and I really had to look it up just to make sure this is actually a real cover, because honestly, I did not think it was real that you would put something like this. Do you think they would ever put a different ethnic child on this cover other than this little white boy? No, they would not. They would not. And how often do you think if he had some arguments or some criticism of anything happening, they would call him a racist? Like, it's so ridiculous. And I'm so tired of that being such a powerful word. That's like the trump card. Like, that's the ultimate. If they call you racist, it's all over. Your life is just over. It's ridiculous. Oh my God. Yeah, he might grow up straight too. I know. It's going to be dangerous. It's going to be like monster status immediately. And I think that we need to explore more and more how to disarm, how to neutralize these like sort of tactics in the public sphere. Like, we can't just go around letting them use simple words or simple phrases and then all conversation has to stop. Censorship is such a critical component of propaganda that the fact that they wield so much power to be able to censor someone instantly because they could be considered racist, or any of their criticism could be considered racist, then that's just not going to make any progress. It's just going to keep us in this holding pattern. Might be normal. Oh my God, that's you mean normative? I like how they pathologize everything. Like, literally, they pathologize everything. Like, if you're just a regular person, oh no, that's like cis normative. It's just, shut up. I'm so tired of it. Like, I'm just so glad they're so like miserable that that's the only thing that makes it tolerable. Like, you honestly know these people are miserable. There's no way they're not. Because you can't live in that type of psychosis and not be miserable. Yeah, Australia went off the rails years ago. I used to think that they were tough and base, but now they're woke and weak. They really, really are. They really are. I thought the same thing too. I didn't know it was this bad, but obviously it didn't start in 2020. Like, that's not the first instance of them being this like psycho group. Getting you to self-censor. Oh, sorry. I didn't put the comment up. I should have. Oh, getting you to self-censor is, what did you say? Here we go. Is the ultimate goal always question their narrative as opposed to outright challenge it? Yeah, you do have to question it. Questioning something isn't, trying to destroy the culture. You're just asking a simple question. I'm just asking, like, what's the meaning of this? Oh my gosh. Getting you self-censor. There's no peace, says the Lord, until the wicked. Oh yeah, that's true. I just don't get it. I just don't get it. I just don't get it. I don't. And maybe I'm just not smart enough to get it. But it just seems like such a waste. It just seems like such a waste. Like, just like, what are we doing? What are we doing? Like, can we just calm down for a second? When you talk to like the leftists or the communists or whatever, I like to call them commies myself. When you talk to them, they're just so detached from reality, to put it mildly. And I guess that's what happens with any extreme. You're just not in touch with reality and you're trying to actively deny what's going on so that you can facilitate your delusional state and also reign supreme in it. Otherwise, somebody's going to come in and mess up that order, right? Some new ideas, some fun ideas. Oh my gosh. You don't believe everything I do. You're just not as smart enough to get it. Well, you also have to call me like many derogatory names. You have to like say that I'm a stupid idiot and a cult member or something. Like you have to make sure you put those like insulting bookends to reinforce your narrative. I don't know. They love doing that. Pinko back. I've never heard Pinko. I've never heard that. So I saw this like little piece recently. I saw this online and I'm thinking I'm going to recreate it. Where they're outlining the lifestyle of a hoax. And I think this really, really, really sums it up. And I want to connect this sort of chain of events to something that James Lindsay talked about, like about neutralization. Like you have to neutralize things. And that's effectively killing it without censoring it. You just sort of make it powerless. Because all of these narratives they're pushing, they have a lifespan. They have a lifespan and they're not going to live forever. They're not going to exist forever because they're built on so much flawed logic. Eventually they're going to disintegrate and die. That's why they have to be constantly reinforced. That's why they need constantly new things to happen, or they shut down old things and then bring it back for like a sequel like we're seeing right now, or they're desperately trying to do that. I don't know how they're going to pull it off, but okay. But there's a lifestyle to it. And this one seems really interesting because it's the CIA, FBI, DOJ leak latest psyop to allies and media. The allies run the story, giving it a degree of legitimacy. Smaller outlets propagate the story, citing the original, source. Then there's then there's Democrat-funded unbiased organizations, our favorite ones, They confirm the story. About a third of the public believes the story uncritically, quickly creates false consensus, and hoax is firmly established in popular culture. Non-believers become deniers. Yeah, because that's a big portion of the public if you think about it, that like a third just downing something without even questioning it. That's huge. Those are huge numbers. I'm like, and I think this is really interesting. We need to also put instead of laundering the fake news, I would put something like, as soon as it goes through this and this happens, then there's a clock and the hoax will start to disintegrate, or, what's the half-life of a hoax? But I thought this was really interesting because we don't really talk about how these things are created, how they're propagated. Like, we don't really talk about that. We just say, oh, this is true and this is fact. But somebody on the outside looking in would be, well, this legitimate news source said it, so I don't understand. So putting something like this out there in the public, I think would help a little bit, just to get people a guideline on how things actually happen. Because we have to ground every sort of like conspiracy theory that we have. We have to ground it in reality, like make it make sense for a regular person. Like, why were there fires in Maui? Oh, I don't know. Maybe it was some type of fraud. They wanted money, something like that. If it wasn't just a natural event, people need something that's like grounding and legitimate that would make actual sense to them, because they don't really automatically think there's some like reptile squad trying to do something. I don't know. So this, I think this is a good draft of an interesting sort of walkthrough of what could happen and how suddenly a rumor or suddenly a powerful entity can like propagate a message on through, and then suddenly we have to believe it. Know your enemy as you know yourself, and you need not fear the outcome of 1,000 battles. Ooh, that's a good one. Oh my gosh, that's a good one. I don't think we're ready to really challenge that or challenge any of these things until people don't feel like their whole lives are going to be in jeopardy if someone like slanders them, says something they said is racist or something like that. That's why people like Trump so much. He speaks to the common person. Yeah, he does. He definitely does. He was so rowdy. I can't believe he was actually elected in 2016. Like, he was talking mad shit about everybody. It was so weird. I can't wait till we're post all of this and we have some sort of stability. I'm just so tired of all these actors. Like, it's just like, I get it. It's just, you sort of get tired of them because I feel like we need to get to a place where people can start focusing on themselves and their community, not just hyper fixated on these characters that are never going to be close to us. They're never going to actually impact us directly. They're sort of just out there in the ether. And what's weird to me with the whole character narrative is how after years and years of pummeling people, they really do a good job of demonizing anyone they want to. Like, anyone. It doesn't matter. Because people, they're going to forget. The American spirit is strong. Really? We were born in adversity. Yeah, I would hope so. But with all of these people coming in and the new generation, it's just like, I don't know. I don't know if they're really... I don't know if they can handle it. Where's this? Okay. So another thing that this is kind of off. This episode is not really like the most mainstream sort of content, but I feel like these are all really good examples that we could, sort of springboard off of. And I saw this video that, now hear me out. Now, I know this just seems like, oh, it's just a stupid Gen Zer, but just hear me out with this video, okay? Just hear me out. Let's watch it. She's very upset. I'll just say that. She's very upset at the circumstances she's in. Let me move this out of the way where you can see it.
Every single influencer and TikToker who put the Amalfi Coast on my For You page over the last 2 months deserves jail time. Because while they showed you the gorgeous coastlines and the cute little towns, what they didn't tell you were the disclaimers. First of all, it's impossible to get here. You have to fly into Naples. Then you have to take a train from Naples to Sorrento. Then you have to stand in 90-degree weather waiting for a ferry to get on a ferry with all of your luggage. Mind you, we've been in Europe for 2 weeks. All of your luggage, lug it onto the ferry, get to Amalfi Coast, finally. Then, to get to the highest of the high points, the beautiful hotels with the gorgeous, there's no streets here. There's no cars driving. So you have to walk up 160 stairs with all of your luggage to get to the top of this gorgeous area with these beautiful views, carry it, and then also all the power went out because the Amalfi Coast doesn't have the infrastructure to support this tourism. Oh my God.
Okay. Now, I know that seems like just some self-entitled like TikToker, whoever. She's just an idiot sort of thing. But I thought that was a really interesting video because she was legitimately upset. She was legitimately upset. Now, this is a woman who's extremely upset because she's ignorant. She's ignorant. How do you not do basic research? How do you not understand? And this is really key, and this is really critical. And this is something we have to, philosopher says, I hate this timeline. Yeah, I know. This timeline is trash. This is terrible. This is a terrible timeline. But how? How does she not even look it up? She's getting her information off of TikTok. TikTok has created her worldview legitimately to the point where she's going to enter into the real world and face reality and get upset that it doesn't mirror what she expected from her TikTok perception. Okay? This is the level that we're dealing with. This is the type of people that we're dealing with on a daily basis. We might have a grounding in reality and understand reality, but we're dealing with other people who have no concept. They are not aware. They're completely ignorant. And when you try, or when they actually interface with reality, they're going to get upset and then blame other people that they have to face the consequences. Oh, John says, grew up learned helplessness, cannot tolerate any adversity, crybaby. No, what they can't do is take any responsibility for their actions. They can't take any responsibility for their actions. Again, they're the ones who decided to go to a place that's somehow they assumed was like America. Somehow they assumed was like other places in the world. No one said that to them. No one guaranteed that. And it's not like it's a secret. It's not like it's not like known that it's a different country. It's a different way of being. Like the cities and the streets and everything are not the same. But she's upset because it's different and no one told her. She's upset because of that. Literally. Look at this justification that they put up. Look at this. In order to justify, oh, it's not their fault, because this is the first thing you have to expect whenever you're dealing with people, especially the Gen Zers. If she did some simple research, beloved, a lot of that research is still heavily sanitized and edited because most of it's from travel companies and tourism departments who really want you to go there. Okay. All right. Okay. Yeah. So she's not saying that she actually looked it up. She's just saying that they're the problem. So it's nonstop. She's gonna in the age where you can Google anything, when you can literally go look at a map of the terrain and of the place you're going and do street view of the place you're going. You have this technology. You have YouTube. You have countless years. You have books that go back decades, like articulating and explaining the terrain and what this place is like. She's still upset and she's blaming because, oh, they censor. They censor. It's like, wow, at least she's pretty. Oh, God. She shouldn't have to become cultured by traveling. No, she shouldn't have to break out of her worldview and face the reality that she's ignorant and didn't plan ahead and just didn't know. But she wants to blame others. So that's the thing. Whenever you try to inspire or teach anyone, they're going to blame you for it. She didn't know about a ferry travel before buying a ticket for a ferry. And you should Google Street View that town, so no problem, I'm sure. All of that was presented before her. Otherwise, she wouldn't be capable of even going to the town in the first place. Exactly. If she didn't even know what the town was like or where it was or anything about it, how can she like talk about the ferry? It's like, don't go there then. Like, if you don't want to go on a ferry, if you don't want to go there, then don't go there. I don't understand. It's not the simplest place to go. It's like a coastline of a medieval city. Like, the city should just look the way you want it to look and just be the way you want it to look, so it's easy. I love this. The fact that they're tearing your ass up in the quotes and in various different languages, truly beautiful to see. Bro, if she actually cared about history and culture of the town, she would have known the steps were there and that it's not a driving town. Exactly. Oh my God. I've been to Amalfi and we already knew how to get there by research. Like the whole trip we did, but instead of train to Sorrento, we took a ferry, and from Sorrento, we went to Capri, Positano. The rest of the world doesn't think walking is a big deal. No, she wanted to just be able to do what she does. This is the profound ignorance that people have. This is the lack of awareness people have. And I know this seems like superficial and just silly, but I'm trying to convey that when you're dealing with people and you're trying to explain concepts to them, they literally don't understand, and they're going to consistently project their perception of what it should be, what they think it is. They're not going to try to understand what you're saying or what anyone else is trying to explain. They're not going to be open to that. They're just projecting out, oh, it's like New York. Oh, it's like Rome. Oh, it's like this. It's like that. It's like every city I've been to. So I'm assuming if it's a city, then it has to be like every city I've been to, when that's obviously not the case. It's obviously steep. Like, what do you want? So yeah, I've been to the Amalfi Coast, and yeah, it's not a place where you go where you expect you can have your like huge RV and just drive through the city. Like, that's not what it's like at all. Can you believe I used to travel before the internet and I was still able to research where I was traveling? Oh, I think there's one more. Here we go. There's one more person put this in the like Twitter responses. This one. Like, literally the rough guide to Naples, Pompeii, and Amalfi Coast. Like what did they say? What would it take for a Gen Z? What would it take for Gen Z to open a book, to read a book? Yeah, it's just ridiculous. But you have to take this as a lesson, and I take this as a lesson of the profound stupidity and laziness and lack of accountability people have. And so if you're trying to make them change their behavior or have them follow a certain behavior or present some new ideas to them, you have to take these things into consideration. I mean, this is person who's literally going across the world, paying money, knowing they're going to another country, doing all of this, and still they can't even conceive that this place is not like Detroit or LA. Like, it's not. Like, what else do you need? Like, we would take the cues and say, oh, this is a different place. Maybe I should look it up. Maybe I should consider what it's like there. Open my mind a little bit. But no. They literally believe it should be exactly the same, copy and paste. Nothing should be different. And they're angry and blame others when it actually is. Okay. Great move. That's progress, people. If every city is the same, what's the point of going? Obviously, for her ego. She said that her whole worldview of Amalfi was built on what TikTok influencers posted. It's for her ego. She wants to go there so she can take the pretty pictures of the rooftop views and all of that and be like them and be able to, fulfill her ego. It's ridiculous. It's so disgusting. It's so disgusting. I feel like this is a good lesson, honestly. Wow, yeah, she was inconvenienced because her next TikTok location was delayed. And she's literally blaming the hospitality industry for not letting her know that this medieval city might not have the same sort of navigation and streets. Can you imagine how insufferable it was traveling with her? With all her 2 weeks of luggage. I had all my luggage. Ugh. Can you imagine? She's just like so upset that she has to like walk with her luggage. Like, duh. What do you think people did before? Do you want a mule that help you? It's ridiculous. It seems superficial, but honestly, it's not, because I think it's a really good look into the mind of someone who wants to project out what their reality is because they're getting their reality from TikTok. You're seeing a couple seconds of video and you think that's the real world. That's how sick these people are. Because she saw it on her TikToks, she couldn't conceive that, oh, perhaps this is not the full picture of what this place is like. Hello? What did you think? Oh, you didn't think at all. And you're lazy and you blame others for your ignorance. Classic. So sad. So sad. I feel really disgusted by it. But it is important to keep in mind. And that's why it's so important to explain things to people and actually articulate them and put it into a story format and give them more context. Unlike, I always hear from like conservatives online that are just like, oh, we don't have to explain this. Oh, they're just dumb. Or, oh, how could they do this? They're just weird or whatever. Just all of this stuff. We shouldn't have to explain it. The truth will set us free and all of this. It's like, you have to explain it to these people. They're literally sheep. They are really, really not intelligent. They don't have any perspective of reality. They're not going to research anything, meaning basically read a pamphlet of what is this place like? Let me understand. I don't know. If I'm going across the world, I would want to know. You can never assume anything, especially in a place like that. Especially in a place like that. It's a medieval city. Like, what part of medieval do you not get? This was built hundreds of years ago on a coastline, on a cliff. And you couldn't figure out that perhaps they would have somewhat smaller streets? Really? But you had to bring all your clothes and all your stuff. You can't believe it. So yeah, everything needs context for these people. You can never make assumptions about what someone would know or not know. You can't ever, because they're just going to get mad. They're just going to get mad because their whole entire worldview is built off of some TikTok videos. That's something you should at least go forward if you're going to discuss anything with anyone. You have to assume that their worldview is built off of TikTok videos. I'm serious. Because otherwise, you're going to be projecting your reality onto someone who has nothing. There's nothing there. They have no context. I think hindsight is just a bitch when you're old. What is that? I think hindsight is just a bitch when you're old, more than youth, wasted when young. But I feel no. I think that no. I couldn't give that excuse because I know a lot of young people do travel. Before TikTok, a lot of young people traveled. And they were able to look things up and they were able to understand that different parts of the world are different. And just because you saw one video or a couple little videos on it doesn't mean that was the whole world. Oh my God, Alexander. Yeah, to be honest, she probably doesn't know what medieval is. I know. I know. That's how sad it is. It's so sad. So we literally live in a world we're going to have to, for the next, I don't know how many years, but at least for the next serious amount of years, like 10, 20 years, we're going to have to assume that when we're talking to someone under the age of 40, that their worldview is constructed by a series of TikTok videos. And that's it. Yeah, it's so bad. If she was in her 20s, well, still, she's lazy. What is she ever lifting or moving or doing anything? When is she ever like doing anything that's actually laborious or difficult? She's ever doing anything like that. The most she's ever doing is like working as a hostess or taking photos of herself. Come on. Life is a drink and you get drunk when you're young, but you find out life isn't like that. It's so hard to understand. The world is your oyster from your. Okay. She'll find out what medieval is soon enough. Oh, yeah, she probably will. I feel like society is getting dumber by the year. Yeah, it is. Because their world is constructed by little TikTok videos. They actually believe this is real. The perception is everything. Perception is everything. There's nothing outside of perception. If these people perceive that this is true and this is how it is, then that's how they're going to operate. That's how they're going to move through society. What is that? Our government and social media has destroyed these people mentally. It really has. Because there's nothing based in reality. There's nothing that they have that's based in actual reality, practical concepts. They live in a fantasy of a fantasy. Like it's really bad. I mean, they don't even believe in like two genders. Like this is it's laughable, except they actually believe these things. This is how they go through life. Oh yeah, the lack of teaching reasoning in schools just moves them along. Yeah, that's true. They don't have reasoning, they just have repetition. Man, it's bad. It's bad. I'm glad you all could appreciate this video. I was kind of concerned about talking about this video because I thought, oh, maybe it would seem like a bit of a stretch. But I appreciate you're able to pick up what I'm trying to convey as using this example, where she's so out of it that she's literally upset with the world that it doesn't reflect a TikTok video, as if the world owes her that. Come on. And instead, and then the even more dangerous part, more destructive. Okay, yeah, she made a mistake. That's fine. You know, it happens all the time. People make mistakes. They make assumptions about things. You know, you think, oh, if I can use a debit card here in this country, I can use a debit card in another country. You know, whatever it is, people make mistakes. But the part that's really cancerous and that's really evil and degenerative is the fact that she wants to blame other people. She wants to blame the hospitality industry for not alerting her to the fact that it's a freaking coastal city a city built on a cliff face from the medieval times. Yeah. That's the hospitality industry's fault. Of course. Of course. Oh yeah. We understood you. We understand your streams. Birds of a feather flock together. I appreciate that. Thanks. I really do. Yeah, because it's empowering for us to understand this concept, because for most people they don't get this and they run into these like repeated roadblocks and barriers when trying to communicate effectively and ultimately trying to manipulate effectively, as if they run into these barriers because they're trying to tell someone something and doesn't penetrate, not sticking, not working, because they're not giving them the context. They're not trying to pull them over into their frame of reality, frame of reference. Like, you have to build them up from the beginning. Like, you have to tell this person, hey, not every city, like, if you think about it, you have to tell her not every city in the world is like Detroit or New York or LA. You have to get that through her brain first, because she assumes, oh, it's the same. You should be able to drive everywhere. What are you talking about? What are you, with her nails? Like, what are you talking about? So you have to convey that first. Like, there's so much you have to build upon. And this is why it has to be such a gradual process most of the time. You have to build these people up from like this degenerate state that they're already in. You're asking, it's like asking a sheep to do tricks. You're not just going to tell the sheep, or asking like a dog or a cat to do some tricks. You're not just going to expect them to immediately know what it is you're trying to say because you told them. You're not going to expect a child to understand language immediately because you talked to them a couple times. They're little kids. They're not going to get what you're saying. So you have to build these people up. And most people get frustrated and stop and say, oh, we can never change them. We can never fix them. We can never, oh, there's nothing we can do. They're too strong, you know, because you're not actually giving them foundations that they need to understand what these complex concepts you're trying to communicate. Like, for example, why should you want freedom? Why do I like why? Why would someone need freedom? What is important with that? Why do you need free speech? What's important about that? That doesn't even make any sense. Why is that a big deal, huh? Why is that a big deal? Because to them, the world is just consuming like TikTok videos and watching Netflix or whatever. Well, people don't really watch Netflix anymore, thankfully. But you know what I mean? Like, that's their world. They can't even perceive a scenario where they would have to speak out and be concerned about censorship or not being able to express themselves. You know, they don't have any. There's no scenarios where they're just like, oh, I might need this. You have to give them that context. You have to explain, hey, it's important to have this because of this, and this is how it could work, and this is what it would look like, and give them examples. You know, so they can connect the dots, and they can see how it will personally affect them. If you're just talking just to talk so that you can prove your point and tie it up together and have an argument and like, look, I laid out this argument, you're not going to get very far with these people. There's not a lot there's not a lot going on with them. Their worldview is so small that for them it takes leaps and bounds. You have to really articulate, spell things out for them and personalize it for them. Like, how does this affect them? Otherwise, you're just wasting your time. Oh, Twitter Spaces. Yeah. What time is it? Oh, it's almost an hour. Okay. So yeah, that was a fun little video. So I'm glad to see that there's some interesting stuff coming out. Oh my god. Yeah, no, people watching like really messed up stuff too. And can you imagine people sitting around watching like the murder horror stories type stuff? Ooh, what kind of worldview do they have after that? Okay. It's Americans traveling with a sense of entitlement, which makes other countries despise us. Yeah. They're like, why don't we have extra? Why don't you have ice? This is one of the funniest things. Like, some people don't have ice. They don't have all of the sodas on tap. But anyway, I thought that was an interesting case study. So I hope that you all enjoyed the stream. I definitely enjoyed recording it for you. And I'll be back on Monday to do Monday motivation so we can like reset. But hopefully by then I'll have a new video out as well because I have a lot that I need to finish editing. It's just like, ugh, it takes so much time. So anyway, I hope you guys have a great evening and thanks for joining the live. Make sure to subscribe to the channel and like the video and all of those good things if you're watching the playback. And I will be back shortly. I feel like I'm online all the time. Anyway, talk to you guys later. Good night.